Everything okay over there? Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairperson, sorry, Mr. Thariq. Good evening to everybody. My name is Thariq Azizuddin from University of Sultan Idris, Malaysia. Together with my colleagues and my postgrad student, we conduct a study on strategies and psychological skill training experience in Malaysia among rugby, our national rugby team, who compete in the competition, in the Asia Rugby competition, one of the prestige competition where one of three nations that compete. It is Hong Kong and Korea. So the champion team will be qualified for the playoff to play one of European team to qualify for the World Championship. But unfortunately, we're not qualified for that. So this study has been conducted specifically on that particular team. Okay. We know that rugby team game is considered a physical and psychological demanding game. As the nature of the game, it requires physical and mental strength during competition. And then we try to look at what are the need of our psychology before any intervention that be conducted. So there is a need of to get information regarding what are the importance of specific needs of rugby players. So in relation of psychological training, we call a diagnose phase. So in the diagnose phase, we know what are the requirements, psychological requirement. From there, only we can provide a psychology training for our athlete, especially those athletes who compete in high-level competition. So basically, there are two types of diagnose can be used. In this study, we adopt a questionnaire and then a face-to-face interview. Examining Malaysian rugby situation, although the sports psychology preparation has been detected among our national rugby players, according to some of the anecdotal resource from some of managers and team managers and coaches. But there is no specific program regarding model or what types of psychological skill training have been conducted, whether there are diagnosed have been conducted before any psychological training have been used among our rugby players. So the purpose of this study is to examine the application, experience, perception of psychological skill training among our Malaysian rugby players, 15, they're going to compete in the Asian Rugby Championship. It's going to be a mixed method study. We're going to use we are using questionnaire and then interview with our participants. So the participant will be 25, all national rugby players, our national rugby players. They are going to answer all the questionnaire. For interview measure, we select 10 players who represent the play position and year of experience representing national team. So using the measure we use are the TOPS 2 by Hardy and Roberts. In this test of performance strategies, is a self-report instrument designed to measure overall use of the athlete psychological skill. It encompasses automaticity, negative thinking, goal setting, relaxation, self-motivation, attention control, self-communication, activation, and immigration. So the second part of study is the use of semi-structured interview, where we interview tens of participants. Following the procedure of this study started whereby we have ethics clearance by our university ethics committee, and then clearance by the Malaysian Rugby Unions. All the regulation, the ethics being followed before any study being conducted, where all the study information are provided, all the consent form, all the players have been explained what are the purpose of the studies. So we use SPSS to analyze our questionnaire, and then for interview, we use audio data, transcribe it to verbatim, and we do cross-check with the audio, transcribe the interview, and then the players have been, show the interview to enhance the trustworthiness. Then the result we get from the studies for the TOPS 2 competition, based on 9 subscale analyzed result, overall we found out that only 2 dominant area that they be employed by our national rugby players, namely the automaticity and the goal setting. These 2 quite only significant show among the TOPS. And then we also analyze the psychological strategies during competition based on experience. We want to know either experienced athlete will use different psychological skills training compared compared to non-experienced, 5 years and above and 5 years below. So the result of the analysis based on the player's experience indicate that there is no significant difference. Only one part, it is that automaticity. And we also conduct psychology strategies during competition based on players' position. For all information, in rugby players, we have player position where it can be categorized by defender, mid, and then attackers. The result shows that there is no significant unless in one aspect there is a goal setting. And then the second part of our studies on the interview. Based on analysis, we analyze 10 players that represent team position experience. 3 main teams emerged during the interview. That is PS, psychological training knowledge. We get a few information regarding personal experience based on position and duration of play and individual perception. What are they think about the psychological skill training? And the findings show that 70% of rugby players have limited knowledge of sports psychology, despite representing these countries in the highest level of competition. Perhaps this is from the non-consistent training, psychological skill training among our national rugby players. There are some inconsistency on the result from the quantitative and then interview. Although there are quite high numbers in psychological strategies in the questionnaire, but after we interview 10 of them, players have some difficulties to explain main component of the PAC training. We all know the questionnaire cannot explain what are the psychological element. Perhaps they're just guessing whether they're using or not during the competition. And then from this interview, we know that they have some difficulty. In other words, they perhaps have limited idea what is the sports psychology training is about. And then from experience perspective, interview results indicates that there are not much differences between players' positions. So defenders, strikers, and attackers mid position did not play any role. Most of them use the same. I don't know whether they know what the psychological skill training is all about, or they just use whatever they have in mind, or they have training before. From that, we come up to the conclusion that the diagnosis phase is very important to be conducted before any psychological skill intervention was planned. Although this is involved the national team, although it's involved an elite team which play in the international rugby competition, but in terms of Malaysian setting, we think the diagnosis phase is really neat because the information, the plan, the program for psychological skill training among our national elite is quite limited. Only National Sport Council will conduct this, and only 5 psychologists are in our National Sports Council, so they don't have capacity to provide psychological skill training to all our national athletes. Malaysian rugby 15 rugby players have limited knowledge from our information, but perhaps come from our interview, and less consistent involved in psychology training. In regarding to this competition, the psychologists or psychology consultant just came, 1 month, 2 months before they involved in that competition. So I think this not the proper way of to conduct psychological skill training, where you need to be embedded in the periodization, you need to be embedded at the beginning of the team development. And then the third one, Malaysian national rugby team is in need of holistic and consistent psychological skill training. They can embed it into the physical training, where they have a very more comprehensive, more holistic training program. It's simple studies, but it's very good information for us to get know what is the condition of our national rugby team players, and especially our national rugby players. That's all from me. Thank you very much. I hope we can share more after this.
Thank you, Professor, for interesting presentation. If we have some questions for audience, please press the button of raise hand. Professor, psychological preparation, like other type of preparation, is very important for success in rugby.
Yeah.
And there's high importance in training process. what will be your opinion on how to implement psychological methods of preparation during long-term athletic development in situation where we don't have a lot of professionals, psychological professionals to provide that type of training?
I think that psychological skill training should be started from the beginning of development of team rather than where there have been psychologists been there for just 2-3 months before the competition. We have a lot of academicians who are expert in sports psychology in our university, in 5 or 10 universities in Malaysia. So all these academicians who get well known with the training of psychological skill training should be used in the preparation of our national team, and it should start from the beginning of team development. And it's the process of diagnosis of the athlete, get know with the athlete, get the repo, and then analyze every individual needs, every aspect that athlete requirement. The training should be same as the physical training, where it should be embedded in the periodization. We start from the pre-season and competition, pre-competition, and transition. So it should start from the beginning, and it needs a lot of work, because the psychological skill training need to be customized, not a generic where one size can fit all. It doesn't work that way. So that's my opinion regarding the psychological skill training.
Okay, thanks again. Since we don't have any question, I will take an opportunity to move to another.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.